This, I hope, will help you think on the guitar fretboard and express your ideas on the guitar fretboard and give you a vocabulary and language that you understand. Let's talk about building blocks and chord spelling and the foundation for different chord sounds. As we discussed in a few other videos, a scale is foundational to building chords. As you can see here, I've got simple C major scale, no sharps, no flats, like the white notes on the piano, right? And then we have C and E and a G, a 1, a 3, and a 5. And those are thirds. C to E is a third, and E to G is a third. We have, in this case of C to E, it's a major third because it's two complete tones. C to D is a tone, D to E is a tone. And then here we have E to F is a semitone, and F to G is a tone. That means from E to G is one semitone smaller than from C to E. So the E to G is a minor third. So the difference between a major third and a minor third is simply one semitone. A minor third is one semitone smaller. But we can use this same logic in building triads. So we've had, let's just take it down here, C, E, and G. Let's take it up an octave. So there's C, E, and G. In order to make that chord a minor chord, we take the third and we lower it a semitone. C, E flat, and G. So it's still in thirds. You know, the C to the E flat is a third, but it's a minor third. And then the E flat to the G is a major third. So the C chord is a major third plus a minor third, the first chord, major third, minor third. And when we move to a minor chord, we just change the one note, but that change of one note creates a minor third and then a major third. And that's what we do to get a minor chord sound, or vice versa. You know, if you take a minor chord and you want to make it a major chord, you find the third and you raise that third up a semitone. Let's say we have a minor chord here. Where's the third? Here it is. It's an E flat. And now it's a major chord, right? The same thing can be demonstrated, like if you look at let's take a look at a D major chord. Everybody knows this chord. How do you make this D into a minor chord, a D minor chord? You have to find the third, D, E, F sharp. There it is. And I lower it. And now I have a D minor chord. So the same thing will hold true. Same thing here. Here's a major chord. Here's my C sharp, which is a major third, right? A, B, C sharp, two tones. And if I lower this C sharp, I have an A minor chord. You see, that's what this is all about, is that you can make your chords malleable. You can spell them on the fretboard. You can think on the fretboard. You don't have to look at visual pictures, right? Here's an E major chord. This is my third here, G sharp, E, F, G, right? E, F sharp, G sharp in the scale of E. And I lower that G sharp, and now I have an E minor chord, right? The same thing is going to hold true for chords all over the fretboard. The idea is be able to take a major chord and make it minor, be able to take a minor chord and make it major by locating the third and either raising it or lowering it. Okay, that's major and minor. Now let's take a look at a diminished chord. Now, first of all, I wonder why the chord is called diminished. It's called diminished because the distance from the root to the fifth is diminished. It's made smaller, right? Because this chord is made up of two minor thirds. So if we take a look at that, we have a C, we have an E flat, And then we have a G flat. So there's a diminished chord. And let's take a look at the C major chord. Make it a C minor chord. And now make it a diminished chord. Make that top interval smaller. Major, minor, diminished. Okay, now the same thing with let's do it somewhere else. Let's do it up here. These are root position chords, by the way. We could do inversions, but that's a whole other thing. C major, C minor, C diminished. And now let's take a look at the augmented chord. Now, diminished was called diminished because we made it smaller, and augmented chord is called augmented because we take that top interval and it becomes an augmented fifth. Or in other words, we have two major third intervals stacked on top of each other. Major third plus major third. Here's a major third, and here's another major third, and here's an augmented triad. All right, major chord, minor chord, diminished chord, augmented chord. All right, so practically speaking, what you want to do at this stage is just work your way around the fretboard a little bit and start to spell some of these chords on the fretboard. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we can change the tonal center and make it A minor, A diminished, and A augmented, right? And the idea is to become familiar with how these chords are spelled with these building blocks. The same thing is going to apply to bigger chord forms later on. You know, for instance, let's say we take a D minor chord. Change it to a diminished and resolve to a major. Or we take a D minor chord 2 chord to a G7 to an augmented to a 1 and so on. So these building blocks will appear quite extensively later on when you're talking about more complex chord sounds. More complex chord sounds, for instance, could be major 7, major 9, major 13, minor 7 flat 5, diminished 7th, which is sort of stays like that. Augmented, is a very common chord sound over the dominant sound. This nomenclature is going to pop up in all of your chord chart reading or your own work, maybe, and it's nice to know what these things are called and be able to converse in the musical language. Okay, so major, minor, diminished, augmented. Get this down on the fretboard. Be able to actually spell these chords and think in this way, in this chord spelling sort of way. Major triad is a major third plus a minor third. Remember that we're building everything in tertian harmony. Minor triad is a minor third plus a major third. Diminished triad is 2, made smaller, 2 minor thirds because they're smaller. And augmented chord is 2 major thirds because they're larger. The most complex chords use these triadic building blocks. If this video was helpful to you, like, subscribe. It helps the algorithm immensely. Buy me a coffee. Buy one of my books, which you can get on Amazon. And please leave a question. I get back to all the questions with fairly lengthy answers. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you real soon.